Smoke. OVS. Old Virginia Smoke. Old Virginia.
This podcast is brought to you by the Kansas City Barbecue Store, the official provider of barbecue supplies to listeners of Pitmaster. Barbecue season is starting all around the country, and you don't want to miss out on this discount from the Kansas City Barbecue Store. From smokers and fuel to rubs and sauces, the Kansas City Barbecue Store has everything and anything you could possibly want. Make the Kansas City Barbecue Store your one-stop shop for all your outdoor cooking needs. As a listener of the OVS Pitmaster podcast, you can get 10% off of your order this spring by using the code PITPOD, P-I-T-P-O-D, all caps, for online orders at www.thekansascitybarbecuestore.com. Alrighty, welcome to another episode of Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. My name is Luke Darnell, the host of this program, and it's been extremely far too long since we've had a female pitmaster on the show. So, if you would please join me in welcoming Shannon Turner from Muttley Crew BBQ. How are you, Shannon?
I'm great, Luke. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's awesome. You've been on my list for a while, so I'm really glad that we get a chance to do this.
I was starting to think we weren't really good friends like I thought.
Well, I mean, you have to define it like, are we good enough friends where I can poop in your RV?
Yeah, that's a hard no.
That's a hard no. So, but no, it's my, a lot of people know about my tradition of, I call it a ghost pooping, and that's sneaking into people's trailers and dropping a deuce. And like, I've made it my mission for 2023 to get the Muttley Crew trailer on my belt. So, we'll
yeah, we would have to be incapacitated for that to happen because we lack that.
I will say that I made 7 attempts at Barbecue Goes Back.
7 attempts.
7 attempts. I even had some well-placed spies and information, and none of it worked out.
Yeah, we got your number. I mean, literally, every time we're at a contest that you're at, Brian's like, okay, lock the doors, keep them locked.
It's like Fort Knox.
It is,
Fort Knox.
Truly.
Well, now that we've got the pooping business out of the way,
yeah.
I usually start with a story about how we met, but I have a better story about Muttley Crew and Old Virginia Smoke that is very near and dear to my heart, and I think about it often. We were at the 2016 World Food Championships down in Orange Beach, and we had qualified for the finals. And
yes.
We were ill-prepared for said situation. We didn't plan on qualifying. We had planned on going to New Orleans and getting beignets and then stopping back and having lunch at the shed the next day. But instead we had to cook, and we had no idea what we were going to cook. And you and Brian came over and said, hey, we have these Wagyu tri-tips. Do you want to use them tomorrow? And
yep.
And we were so grateful, but it also prompted us to go back to the hotel, and I had to look up what a tri-tip was.
Oh no!
I'm like, I know it's beef, but like, what exactly? And spent like hours that night researching it and calling people, and then we ended up winning the next day. So
yeah,
there will always be a special place in Old Virginia Smoke's hearts for Muttley Crew.
Well, I appreciate you telling that story. That's really funny. Yeah, but some of our friends make it that far. We need to make sure they can go all the way. Tri-tips, they're magical meat. So that was a good way to go.
And it's one of those things like now I buy it all the time when I see it because I just want to cook it and I don't want to cook it hanging out inside of a Deep South ever again, but I just enjoy cooking it and just going back to that day. But it's always Muttley Crew will always be in Old Virginia Smoke lore for that, and such an amazing experience. But you guys have been on a little bit of a tear here as of late.
Yeah, we've been doing pretty well. I don't want to think too much about it because as you go up, you can go down. So But yeah, it's been pretty exciting because the first contest um, competed in this year was at the Mission Farm contest at Iron Station, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we honestly, I told Brian, I was like, we're just going in this with no expectations because literally we had not cooked since Alabama the year before. So in November at the Invitational.
Oh, wow.
And we had lit the cooker. Yeah. And so that's what I mean by no expectations. We're just going to get back on this bike and see how rusty it is. And lo and behold, we put out a good cook and the judges were happy with it. And we had 4 calls. It's kind of surprised, but excited at the same time. And the interesting thing about it is we hadn't won a grand. It was 2 years to that weekend since we had won a grand.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course.
That's hard to think about because you guys are not
Yeah.
only have you been doing this for a long time, but you've also been one of the more consistent teams in the country over, I don't know, how long have you guys been doing it now?
So it's 9 years this year.
9 years. So, yeah, it always near the top in pretty much every competition you guys cook. The consistency that you have is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's helped us quite a bit. And the past 2 years, we're pretty good at doing top 10 and getting RGCs and things like that. We just couldn't break over to the top. So it was nice to finally get back there.
Where do you think your consistency comes from as a pitmaster?
I think that we tend to like if we have a bad weekend, I know a lot of cooks will go out there and say, "Oh my God, I've got to change everything," or they're constantly trying new recipes or whatever it is. We stay the line, pretty much. It takes quite a few, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know how you want to look at it, but it takes a lot of, no's for us to say, oh, let's tweak that a little bit. So we tend to really stay in the same lane that we've been going in. And I think that's helped us with our consistency. Also, I think if we do tweak something, it's a slight tweak and just to see what happens. And if it we're like, whoa, let's go back. So I think that's just helped us a lot. Every year, I think until last year, we were trying to take a class. One of us would go take a class, or both of us. And as you know, because you've been doing this for a long time too, when you go to a class, you're not learning a lot of new things, but you're going there for that one little thing that you may not have thought of. And,
Right.
Over the years that helps. And then it helps you build that consistency. I think the quality meat that we've been getting and things like that have helped quite a lot. So yeah, I think that's it.
I think you touched on a few things there that were super important in terms of making changes. It's never throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's small changes, especially when you've been so consistent. That's the key. And
Yeah.
I'm a known tinkerer. And Kim blasts me every time I do it, especially if I don't tell her.
Right.
So it's one of those things now. I've come to rely on her so much,
Mm-hmm.
especially her taste buds and stuff. Because I've been a derelict my whole life, and she's just got better. She's got better taste buds. So if we need to make a flavor tweak or a finishing tweak, it usually comes from her. And I think that's super important. Being a husband and wife team, as you know, having a yin to the yang in the trailer is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that I think we're similar in that Brian is the one that, sometimes be like, let's try this or whatever. And I'm like, no. He tends to have the better taste buds than I do. And so over the years, I don't always agree, but, I've started to listen a little more and think about it. And so it's nice. There's different perspectives. And obviously, if someone's got better taste buds and you realize that, you need to utilize it because that's what gets you to win.
Right. That's part of your tool belt is trusting the people around you as to what's going to work and everyone having their roles and doing what they do is so important. And I think you would agree with that, so you're not worrying about the things that you don't have to worry about and you can focus on the cook. That's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it was interesting because this last weekend when we were able to win again, Brian actually got a stomach bug. Um,
I read that. Yeah.
yeah, and he was like either in the bed, in the bathroom, for most of the cook. And, I'm the pit master, and I'm sure you have this with Kim that we still have our roles and our jobs that we do during the day of the cook. And so all of a. That had shifted,
Right.
I think it's a sign of a good or an experienced cook team where you can roll with that and still be able to pull out a good cook.
Yeah, we had a similar situation last year at Barbecue Gives Back on Friday
Yeah.
night. I was really, really sick, and turns out I had food poisoned myself. Inadvertently, I didn't know I was allergic to duck eggs, but I
Oh
was.
no.
And I told Kim, I said, as far as tomorrow goes, might not happen. She goes, bullshit. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, I'll cook it. I was like,
Yeah.
and I have no doubt that she could. And that's, since we moved Kim into especially cooking chicken and doing that on the drum, and I'm
Mhm.
making her be more involved in everything because it really helps to have everyone should know everything that's going on, whether they're doing it or not. I think.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Absolutely.
See, you're so awesome to talk to. I haven't even really asked you any podcast questions yet. So this weekend you're in Apex, your hometown.
That's right. That's right. So it's only about 10 minutes from the house. So that's nice. I get to sleep in my bed. But yeah, so what we do is actually Brian's already taken the trailer down to the site and he'll stay with it, and I'm gonna stay here tonight, which is Thursday night, and then work a half day tomorrow at home, and then I'll head over there and we'll start prepping for the cook.
Nice.
And yeah, and then I can come back Friday night, take care of our animals and stuff, and then just stay there all day Saturday. So it'll be fun. It's usually a good contest. We usually get some really good teams out there, a lot of local teams, which is nice to see. And then they have some bands and like a beer garden. Usually a lot of people show up. It's pretty fun. Hopefully the rain won't scare people away tomorrow, but Saturday looks good. So,
Awesome. We're having beautiful weather here right now, but I
yeah.
wish I was in Apex. I gotta work tomorrow. So it's always our
Yeah.
first couple of years there. We really had a great time, and it's just a great little town. There's a great little beer shop there that we both loved, and
Yeah.
yeah.
They closed that.
No, oh
Yes.
no,
So, they put in, it's not the bottle shop anymore. I think they do serve beer, but it's just not as cool as it was when it was a bottle shop. And they had a couple taps there and stuff. I love that place.
yeah, we would always. That was our first place we'd go.
Yeah. But they now have a
Shop.
Kill-One's, I think that's how you say it, Kill-One's downtown. So they have the ice cream and the chocolate and all that stuff.
Shh, don't tell Kim. So, how do you think that your career or life experiences outside of barbecue prepared you to be a pit master out there on the competition trail?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is I kind of look at it as I don't want to say vacation, but obviously my off time. But when you work so hard during the week, you look forward to doing something that's different, that challenges you, that's competitive, that you're going to get to hang out with all your, best friends.
Yeah,
Because that's really, I've always said that to people. That's the biggest thing. Barbecue family, they're the best. But I would say that when I was younger, growing up, my dad was always cooking on the grill, and I was always out there watching him, and I just always enjoyed it and got a love of doing that kind of cooking. And then obviously, speed up until about 10 years ago, and I was introduced to the whole barbecue world. I don't know, it was just, I think that love that from the beginning, just it was like a whole new world. Like, oh, this is really cool. And being so competitive, always been into sports, always loved watching sports. It was a way for us, really to compete at something that I didn't have to exercise or run for. But yeah, I think that just the love of the type of cooking and then just the discipline that you get from, working, from schooling, from all those kind of things, and just putting them all together a good time.
It's funny that you just brought that up, the discipline.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that barbecue has taught me.
Hmm.
And that generally I'm not that guy. But barbecue has made me make certain changes to the way that I do things in my everyday in terms
Yeah.
of being organized and laying out a plan and knowing what's going to happen and knowing how to deal with it. It really has brought that into focus for me, I guess is a good way of saying it.
Yeah, I can see that. And also, I think you might agree with me here. At least when we first started, or I'll just say when I first started doing barbecue, I thought, man, this is like a big party. It's a tailgate without a football game. But as time has gone by and as I've gotten more serious, you bring that discipline into the cook too. You're not out there just to have a great time the Friday night before the cook and, get 2 hours of sleep and try to stumble through your cook the next day. You remember why you're there and you have
Yep.
that discipline to make that happen.
That's why we love Thursday nights and Saturday
Yeah,
nights.
exactly. Exactly.
There aren't any rules on Saturday nights. Thursday nights, there's probably a few rules. I think they're unspoken.
Yeah.
Kim has them, and just I know she has spies. It's so
Yeah.
we've talked about how great you are, and we've talked about how consistent you are. Do you have a favorite failure of yours at a contest that really set you up for success later?
Mm. See, it's so funny that you asked that question because I can think of a failure that Brian had.
Oh, please do that. That's amazing.
Oh, this is so great. So we were doing chicken and getting really close to turning. This was, I believe, it was at Rutherford College in North Carolina. And we have that porch trailer. So we have a door that goes between the kitchen area and then the porch. And so we had put the chicken out on the smoker to set the sauce. And Brian went out to get the pan. And as he was coming back in, the wind blew the door. And so he hit the door with like his arm,
Oh
and all
no.
the chicken was flying. And we had chicken on the porch, we had chicken in the kitchen, on the floor. And I mean, tick tock, the clock is running. And he's like, of course, screaming expletives. And we need to get this together. We got to turn this in. So I picked up the chicken that was salvageable and, got it cleaned up, put some more sauce on it, threw it in the box. When we turned in, I think with around 10 or 15 seconds to go.
Wow.
We didn't do well in that category that day. It is what it is, right? You had to take the situation you had and roll with it. Just try your best to get it done. I'm trying to think. I could think of another failure of Brian's, but isn't that sad? I can think of all his. I can't think of anything for me.
That's funny.
Yeah, I will tell you the other story because it's you'll think it's funny. We didn't at the time, but so we were at sun, down in Florida. I think it was the last one they had, and we had a really good cook. And when pork came along, we put our finishing rub on it, and we were running late, so literally again turned it in with just a few seconds or less than a minute to go. And when I got back into the like we put on the wrong finishing rub. I think we end up putting Smoking Guns Hot on it at the very end.
Oh wow.
We lit them up. So needless to say, when awards come around, we're going along. We had gotten, a chicken, a rib call, no pork call. And then we got a brisket call, like pretty good calls. And so we were in the run-in. We got last place pork.
Oh no.
We tore them up.
I need to make a side note to change my pork finishing rub.
Well, maybe you don't want to put it on as much as we did. That's all there's. But yeah, so what have I done that's been a failure? I don't know. I can't think of anything.
You heard it here, folks. Brian makes all the mistakes with Muttley Crew.
And I know that's not true. I know I've plenty, but I just can't think of any. But yeah, anyway.
Oh, it's funny. It's exactly what Kim would just, and I'm just sitting here trying to think of like something that she did, and
Yeah.
I can't.
And
It's all dumb shit that I did.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
well, that's fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
What? Let's switch gears here a little bit to gear. What's one of the best or most worthwhile investments that you guys have ever made in competition barbecue?
Mm. Well, I mean, the obvious one would be your cooker, right? So, we definitely have, I feel like, moved up with our cookers. You know, we started off with the gravity feeds. We had gravity feeds, and then we finally jumped into the world of stick burners. We had made a trade with someone who had the second made Outlaw ever made stick burner, and so we were able to obtain that. That's actually the one that Scully cooked on.
Yep.
Before the Jambo. But so I was like, oh God, stick burner, this is going to be a pain. You know, I'm not going to get my 2 hours downtime on the cook day, you know, that kind of stuff. When I cooked on it the first time, I was like, oh, this is great. The cooker tells you what it needs to do, you know, or what you need to do. And it responds so well. I was like, this is awesome. So I really fell in love with that. And then also having tasting a brisket that comes off a gravity feed was nothing compared to what it's like coming off a stick burner. So, you know, that sold me right there. So, you know, when we were cooking on the Outlaw, and then we got our new Outlaw, I mean, it's a great machine. And we have the luxury, we have a first world problem where we have a Jambo and we have an Outlaw, and they're very, you know, I know there's a lot of discussion out there, and that's fine. Rightly so, but they're very similar. So I like cooking on either one of them. But the Outlaw that we got most recently, well, several years ago, has like a side door on it so that we don't have to go all the way down to the end of the cooker, and so it works really well for so I really enjoy the cooker.
I got to be honest with you. That's the only feature that makes me jealous of an Outlaw.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Because I wouldn't have to put my back deck down if I had that side load.
Yeah.
It would be, I keep selling pits for Jay. I keep, and people are like, I need a stick burner. I'm like, all right, let me call Jay and I'll line you up. And I told him, I said, like, one of these days, dude, you're going to have to make me a pit.
That's right. Yeah. So I guess Jambo, they don't make side doors at all, right?
No side doors, no real custom work. I mean, and I get it because that pit has won so many things, and that's the reason that I switched was, you know, I love winning barbecue contests, but I really want to win the barbecue contest. I want to win the Royal. You know, so many Royals have been won on Jambos or offsets that was the main reason. And man, we've had similar experiences. Everyone told me that I didn't have the discipline to run a Jambo.
Yeah.
Or a stick burner. And I don't think they understand how easy they are.
I know. It surprised me. And it would surprise that thinks that if they just tried it.
Yeah, you're right. The cooker tells you exactly what you need to do to it.
Yep.
It talks.
And it responds so quickly. You're like, okay, thank you. There we go. I'll go back to relaxing. You know?
I may call you the Outlaw Whisperer. That might be the title of this one.
There you go. I like it.
All right. So those are all expensive things. And yeah, my next pit will probably be an Outlaw. Do you have a purchase of $100 or less that really has impacted your barbecue life? You can't say Thermapen either because that's too easy.
I know. I was going there too. Yeah, because I was thinking of the what's it called? It's like one of the temperature probe things, but that's over $100. under $100. It's really helped out. Do, 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 do.
I mean, I would accept a chef alarm or a dot because I think those are so important.
Yeah. And that's,
Um,
but we have the one that I can't remember the name of it, that's got the four probes that for it. And so
yeah,
it works really well for us doing pork. So I like that thing quite a bit. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I could. Yeah, I don't think it'd be an issue if I didn't have it, but it is so helpful.
just
Um,
let you know when you're in the area, you know?
yeah, yeah, for sure. What else?
Do you guys use much technology in your cook?
No, we don't. I mean, really, those are the only things. The probes, the temperature probes, those are the only things we use. We don't use dots and what have you, but we have. Oh my God, I can't think of the names of them. They would
Is
hate
it
me.
this? Is it the smoke?
Yes, that's it. That's
Okay.
it. Got the four, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I have one, and I don't know. I'm still married to the idea of having like a spider web coming out and a different
Oh,
thing. It's
yeah.
so stupid because I have both things, and it would be super easier to do. And
Oh yeah. We have some of those probes that are like the tiniest ones and they have the yellow cords that are, and I swear, I mean, you can be as gentle as you can with the door on the cooker, but they just don't last that long. And they're like the expensive ones that never go on sale,
right.
of course. But they're
As
so nice 'cause-
pitmasters, though, we're brutal on those things.
yeah, truly, truly. And we use them so much, right? We're not the backyard home cook that's just going to cook these kind of things, 10 weekends out of the year.
Right. Sometimes those things might get slammed in the door 100 times a weekend.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But they're great. So
Cool.
yeah, not much technology with us. I've tried the Bluetooth thing, using my phone and stuff, and I don't know. It's just I just feel more secure being close to the pit and being able to manage it that way, and as opposed to being off talking to somebody and getting distracted.
Yeah, I hear you. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by BarbecueData.com. BarbecueData.com is your one-stop shop for all of your barbecue competition data. Historical data, calls, wins, placements, everything under one roof. It's a great way not only to track yourself in the standings, but also to track how you improve your scores from year to year. Listeners of this podcast can receive 20% off of a new subscription to BarbecueData.com with the code PITPOD. That's one word, all capital letters, PITPOD, PITPOD. So check your team scores, check on others, and do it all on BarbecueData.com. Now we got to talk about people.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it is. Who has impacted your life the most in competition barbecue?
I mean, there's a couple people that I would say that I look up to. I mean, one of the obvious ones is going to be Tuffy, right? He's just such an amazing person. But I got to call out the ladies, like Melissa Cookston, even in Diva, they've really paved the way for a lot of the ladies, and they've done so well and shown, other women that, oh yeah, it can be done. This is not just a man's world. So I think that those folks, and that's obviously, I'm not best friends with any of those guys, but just being able to see them from afar and just, well, actually, one team, Matt Griner, he's good friends with Diva, so I've met her and talked to her a little bit. But
One T.
yeah, or other people call him 1M. Either way.
Right.
So yeah, I would say that they've influenced me.
That's good.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, so I'm gonna go down that road a little bit. What's the biggest challenge in your eyes as a female pitmaster being in this largely male dominated sport hobby?
I would say the biggest challenge, biggest challenge is just trying to always kind of have some thick skin, because I would say, people for the most part, they know that I'm a pitmaster. However, 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, if we're at a contest and we get a call, people are mainly congratulating my husband, just because the assumption is the man was the one who did it. He orchestrated the whole cook, and he was the
Right.
reason. So that's frustrating, but I've kind of grown, I don't want to say accustomed to it because I don't necessarily excuse it, but I also don't let it bother me so much. Just because I know the truth, and, the people that are good friends with me, they know the truth and they support me. So, it is what it is, but I would say that's one of the larger challenges.
Yeah. It's a huge thing, like that. I don't know, we're pretty sensitive to it because just that's who we are. And I would love to see that culture change a little bit.
Yeah.
And especially, and I think that, I think I have a role in that with this podcast. And I got to meet some amazing female pitmasters last week in North Dakota, and I'm going to have them all on.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I think it's super important. Number one, our hobby is slowly, it needs some new life, and there's
Yeah.
no reason that can't come from females and people from different backgrounds. And let's kick it up a notch. Let's get it going.
Yeah, and I love it because the Kannapolis contest, every year Lady of Q comes. She's from California.
Sylvie.
Yeah, so she has family in Kannapolis area or Charlotte area. I think it's Kannapolis. And every year she comes to that contest from California. I think that's so cool. And she competed with me in the Fire and Ice contest down at the World. Yeah. So
that was a fun deal. That was a fun thing.
Yeah, it was fun. It was pretty awesome. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Kim got to do it with Tracy Dyer, and
yes,
and that was just a lot of fun. And I think we need more, not necessarily events like that. I mean, that was a great event, but I just think in the overall barbecue world, there just needs to be more recognition and more love given. I
completely agree. Completely agree. Because there's a lot of strong ladies out there. They're strong cooks. They have a love for it and they should be recognized. So I agree completely.
When you hear the word successful in terms of barbecue, who's the first person that comes to mind?
There's a lot of people that come to mind. First, so in the world of barbecue, you said?
Yep.
Okay. Because, I would go to Tuffy. He's an easy one, right?
Sure.
As far as peers, Brad, obviously, because he's, won Team of the Year so many times. But, there's just such a long legacy of great barbecue cooks. I think the success, and success isn't always in winning, right? It's, you may not win every contest, but if you're a good person, if you're there for other people, you're supportive of other people, you're also very successful, I think. And then I've got to think of a person who epitomizes that.
That might be the nicest thing ever said on this podcast.
Now, somehow I'm not surprised.
No, seriously, like having good actors out there, and I think we've gotten away from that a little bit.
Yeah.
And just, you see some of these posts out there about teams that, oh my God, I got robbed. I finished third. And I'm like, bro.
Exactly. Right. Well,
Turn
that happened to me.
Off.
That happened to me at a contest a couple years ago. We were not in a slump, but, like lower top 10, and then maybe we didn't hear our names called every once in a while. And then I walked up on some people who were our friends at the time, and they, we got third place again. And I was like, seriously? I said that. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're saying that to me? Why don't you say that to the first place team? Maybe they appreciate it.
They can feel bad for you finishing third. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. But it's like when we were at, when we were just last weekend, we were at STEM at Jimbo's when we won that, that was something that's Brian Corbett said, Scully. He was like, I'm just so happy when my friends win.
Absolutely.
And that's huge because let's face it, we all get some, pride involved. It's not certainly a moneymaker what we do. So we're spending some money to do this. And if you get disappointed, several times, it's hard to kind of bring out that love for someone else. But the fact that people, can do that, and, I try to learn from that because I'm one of those people that sometimes can get into the slump and whatever. So I need to epitomize that better because to me, that's the sign of a true friend and a good person.
Absolutely. My gosh. That'd make barbecue such a better thing.
Yeah, it would. It would. Yeah.
Now we got to get into the routines and habits and rituals. And I hope there's some weird shit about Brian in here that makes me happy.
I'll see what I can do.
Is your competition planning week to week? Do you do the same things every day?
Yep. Same things. I am a victim of routine. But yeah, we do the same things. Now, Brian, he's a little different, but yeah, we do this. Yeah, it's the same things because we trim all our meats when we get to the contest, which we're a little different than most everybody.
Really?
Yeah, we do. We take the chance and we trim everything there. So during the week, it's like he's got cleaning grates. I have certain days that I'm going to the grocery store. I have certain days that I'm making injections, those kind of things. So.
Huh. That's interesting.
I know.
Definitely had you pegged as a person that trimmed during the week. Wow.
No. In fact, and I know the obvious question is, has that ever bit you? And yeah, it has. Oh, well, sort of. We were in Aden, I guess, and I opened up the chicken and it about knocked me down. And it would have had to ask other people to come smell it because I wasn't sure, but I was sure. So the chicken was bad. So I had to go up to the store and get some more. And, but we ended up getting first place chicken that day. So it paid off. Yeah. But, yeah, so we do take that risk. I mean, chicken's easy, right? But if it's something like a brisket, you're kind of SOL.
Yeah, brisket is the one tough one because we all get it by mail anymore, and you just don't really know.
Yeah.
Until you get into it, what it's going to be like.
Yeah. Yeah. You might have some signs, but it's not 100% for sure.
Are you guys music people during your cook?
Yeah. Well, I have to have like some type of background noise at all times. So, we do listen to music, not as refined as you are with your music, but we basically listen to a radio station or something. So we don't have, any set lists. But I will say that when it's college football time, we always have a college football game, and we're listening to that.
Absolutely. I'm not as refined. Thank you for using that word. That's amazing.
You're welcome.
Most people would not use that word. That's funny. But yeah, I know you guys are big sports nuts too.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, before we really started getting into barbecue, we had season tickets for Carolina Hurricanes and for NC State basketball and football. So we were at the PNC Arena like way too much. It started to smell like home. But, with barbecue, we've obviously cut back. Don't do hockey anymore, and but we still do the football and basketball. So
that's cool.
Football, we can only probably hit 2 games a year. So we end up making money on our tickets, selling them.
Do you guys have any other habits or rituals or things that you have to do at a contest?
Let's see. Any rituals? No, I would say aside from just like, we used to, well, we haven't done this recently. We used to just like give each other high fives, like, let's do this. But we haven't done that recently. But that was a big one. I mean, you know how it is when you're cooking. Everything is such a routine. So it's like I could say everything we do is a ritual.
Right. It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it truly is. So I think that was the thing. So I guess the answer is right now, no, but we did used to do some things like high five, kisses, and all that.
I don't know why because I know Brian likes to take the dogs out for an early morning walk.
Yes.
And oh my God, see, that's another great Muttley Crew story where they helped old Virginia Smoke. It was in Somerville and woke up and the wind was just thumping the back of my firebox. And
Right.
I'm trying to finagle my truck to get back there to block it. And all of a sudden, Brian appears like a ghost out of nowhere with the dog and like guides me through this gap where I literally have an inch on either side of the truck to get it through there, and got it through there and won that contest. It's just
Yeah.
wow. I didn't really put all this together. I mean, I kind of put it together, but damn, like, yeah, Muttley Crew has been very instrumental in some of our success.
Yeah. There we go. We need to get a cut next time.
But it's, North Carolina has become one of my favorite places to cook because of people like you guys and Scully and just the Billy Merrills of the world. And,
Yes.
there's so many good people down there that it's just always like kind of coming home, and just a great, great barbecue culture down there. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it really is great. Some of those teams are kind of, Billy Merrill, he keeps threatening to retire, but he comes back every once in a while. And, I just love those guys. And you're right. There's so much camaraderie. I mean, some of the teams, barbecue, those guys, they've, obviously Smokehouse Mafia, they went steak and then they've kind of gone to golf now. So, we have a good crew down here and it's a lot of fun.
There's no bad reason to go to golf. I have started implementing playing on Friday mornings if I can get there on Thursday.
Nice.
I will book a tea time at like 7 a.m. so I'm back in time for lunch and prep.
Yeah.
And it's just, golf is my first love and it puts me in my happy spot. And
That's cool.
yeah,
And that's
so
good because that's like a Zen thing, right? So that you're then mentally ready for your cook. And that's cool.
completely relaxed when I come back from it and start, put on the Led Zeppelin because Kim's usually not there yet. She hates that. So
So,
I listen to that on Fridays, Led Zeppelin, Beatles, that kind of
Yep.
stuff. And
yeah.
just to get my stuff done, it's a big part of it. And but it's all part of what you referenced earlier is the experience of the weekend and having it not be the grind and going to have fun.
Yes.
Pat Burke said last week on the podcast, he said, yeah, we always said that, when this stopped being fun, that's when we'd stop doing it. And I truly believe that.
I do too. I completely agree. And like you mentioned, real, like, their panties in a twist and about that they finished third or whatever. I'm like, you got to remember, we're here to have fun.
Right.
Yeah, it's great to hear your name called, no doubt. But bottom line, we're here to have fun. And like he said, when it stops being fun, that's really a sign that it's time to look at something else.
Absolutely. And I don't think and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it. A lot of people like to say that they're retiring from barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you just found something else to do. It's a hobby. You can't retire from a hobby. You just
Exactly.
found another hobby. And right now I still love this hobby. That is because of people like you guys. It's a lot of fun to see you guys out there. It's great to follow. I'm not cooking as much this year, and just to follow and see. I agree with Scully. When you see your friends winning, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, truly it is.
All right, now we got to do the rapid fire questions. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Okay, so we're just going to ask me a question. I have to think of the first thing or what?
They're pretty simple questions, but you don't have to answer quickly.
Okay.
Some of these go down rabbit holes that take like a long time. What do you see about barbecue on social media that upsets or bothers you?
I think actually two things I would say. One thing would be what have already talked about, people complaining and whining about what they thought they should have gotten and et cetera, and just forgetting about the fun of it all. The second one, I feel like, and I may get roasted for this one, but I feel like judges sometimes get a hard time, and it kind of bugs me, that because I think that they're in it for their own version of fun. We're in it for our own version of fun. I think they're doing the best they can. I think that certainly something could be done from a judging perspective, not necessarily judges themselves. I think they do a pretty good job. And I think they've evolved with the whole comment card thing and stuff like that. So, anyway, yeah, I think those are the two things I would say.
You mentioned comment cards.
Yeah.
How many comment cards did you get at Barbecue Gives Back?
Oh, so this is the thing. I say that, and then I don't seem to get many. Other people I see, they get a bunch, but it's like we'll get a 7 and something. I'm like, why did I get a 7? And there's 0 comment cards. I would guess that we probably got maybe between 3 and 6 total for both contests.
Wow, we got 10 a day.
10 a day.
10 a day.
But the good thing is there were probably a lot of good ones in there, right?
There were good ones, and there were some that absolutely validated what we thought of our cook.
Well, so that's good.
And that's what, somebody reached out to me and they're like, well, I heard there were just a ton of comment cards. That's a waste of time. I said, I absolutely 100% disagree with you because we got all these comment cards that said that our pork was bland on day one, and they were 100% right.
Yeah.
And to get called out on it and to know that what we thought is the same as what they thought, that's invaluable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's nice that they have the same opinion. It gives you that trust that, yes, the judging it's come a long way. It's great.
I think it has too. And I think that the judges deserve some credit for that. I think KCBS deserves some credit for that, with their training program and things that they've done.
Absolutely. I would still want the seating program really badly, but, I'm not sure that's going to happen. But they have made so much progress with the J Cup and all those things. It's really good. And we're seeing it. We're seeing the results.
Absolutely. And I think I know the answer to this one. Do you have a favorite pre, during, or post-competition meal?
I kind of want to know what what you think I'd say.
You guys love Mexican on Saturday nights.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yep, Mexican on Saturday. It's nothing barbecue related. It's fast because when we started this whole ritual, we were hanging out with probably 4 or 5 teams, and most of them had kids. So, I mean, it was like herding cats. So we're like, yes, let's go Mexican. It'll be fast. It'll be cheap, So that's where it all started. It's definitely hits the spot after barbecue contest.
We've had many a margarita together at Mexican.
Yeah, some queso. Well, see, and that was a joke with some of the teams that we hung out with pretty closely, that whoever did the best, they had to buy queso that night.
That's funny. The queso bet. I love it.
Yeah. And if you buy everybody dinner.
Oh, sometimes that's going to happen.
Yep.
What is your favorite present that you like to give to people?
So I haven't given any presents recently. But I tell you a present I used to give all the time. When people would get married, I would always give them wind chimes for their house, or when they bought a new house, I'd give them wind chimes. That was something that people wouldn't give. And I always enjoy wind chimes. So I thought it was just nice thing. So that was what I gave.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like wind chimes. I don't have any.
Well, see, I need to get you some then.
Only as a congratulations present for pooping in your trailer. That's the only way
There's no congratulations there because that's not going to happen.
I told you what's going to happen after I do it, too. I'm going to sit outside in a chair with a cigar, and you'll know.
I'll know, and you probably won't flush just because you wanted.
No, you'll never know that I was there. The object is not desecration. The object is just
to get away with it.
Just to get away with it. All right, last question. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, getting a message out to millions of people, what would it say and why?
Yeah, so that's an easy one after last year. So it would, I couldn't spell it out, but it would say F cancer. It's big, because I'm sure Brian went through a cancer situation last year that we had to deal with. So, everything's good and it's great, but, we've had close friends who've lost loved ones, and, it's just that would be my message. It would be, I know it sounds weird to say F cancer and to think of that as a supportive message, but in some ways it is, because people who are going through it can be like, yeah, F cancer. But then at the same time, it reminds people that it's out there, and, if there's donations they can make, things like that, to different organizations where, maybe they can work for treatments and cures and stuff like that, would be great, but mainly a message of support.
Absolutely. And yeah, that was a tough time there. And I'm glad that, you guys are so tough. Brian's so tough. It's, I just got goosebumps talking about it, because cancer is a very, I don't want to say near and dear subject to me, but it's been in my life a lot. So, I 100% support your message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there any sponsors or anybody that you'd like to recognize here at the end?
Yeah, sure. I'll give a couple shout outs. So, I want to shout out to Outlaw Smokers, of course, for our great smoker. Royal Oak Charcoal, we're part of Team 2023, so that's nice. The Barbecue Superstore, to get all your barbecue products. Checkered Pig, that's the sauce that we use.
I damn near stopped there the other day.
Did you really?
I was coming back from Georgia, and I had seen your post about where you said that you guys had to drive over there and get some sauce, and I literally drove right through there.
Oh,
and I'm like,
awesome.
I need to stop, and Tommy needs to come on the podcast. That's one of my
that would be great.
That I need to, because the story that I'll tell about Tommy, I don't know if I should tell it in the beginning or not, because he might just get pissed off and hang up. But I might tell it anyway.
Yeah, you should. You should. He's pretty good. I think he'll be all right.
He'll be all right. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So cool. I got a couple more.
Go for it.
Keith Rouse. We just became part of their team this year, and really great products. Love those products. Also, Prairie Fresh. They don't formally sponsor us or anything, but they do support us, and we appreciate that. And then I'll just give a shout out to Vaughn Woods. That's where we get our wood from. As you know, you use some of it, but great guys. They're in the Midwest, and so they help support us by supplying.
Love me some Vaughn Wood. Love me some. I'm really starting to love a lot of Heath's products.
Yeah,
there's just a lot of good things out there right now, and yeah, that's a great list. And you can always find Muttley Crew on Facebook as well.
That's right. On Facebook and Instagram.
Yep, give them a follow. Come by the contest, see the Fozzie Bear.
Absolutely.
He's an amazing little dog. Oh my gosh, he's so much fun. He's got a ton of energy. So
yes, he does. He's a character, and he likes to lick people's faces.
Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you. It was great talking to you, Luke. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And now we'll see you guys in Pinehurst.
Yes, where you try to achieve your ghost pooping.
That one will be hard because it's at an airport. It's a lot of open space. I don't have the camouflage options that I normally have.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But you never know. I might put on a flight suit, see what I can do.
Yeah, you might just be smoking me out right now and trying to trick me.
You never know. I got some tricks. I
hear you.
All right. Well, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Take care.
Yep. Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and to share it out with all your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke YouTube channel as well. Tune in next week for another great episode of Pitmaster. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedanka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke, LLC. All rights reserved. Copyright 2022.
Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke. Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke. Oh, yes. Old Virginia.